Production.
What's poppin'? We're gonna get into a Corsair gaming breakdown here. So first things first, this stock's been downtrending since around November 2020, right? We made the highs at about $50, and we can't seem to make any higher highs on our way down. We just continue this downtrend. But what I like to see is since April 2022, we've had this inverse head and shoulders slowly developing now. So we're closing in on a 1 year reversal pattern. So we're looking at the weekly time frame, and we have the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder shaping up perfectly with this range here from $17 to around $18.50 being our neckline. And as you can see here, we had support, we broke below, and it acted as resistance since then, right? So something we want to see is the breakout, right? We want to see the follow through of this pattern. Now, a few things could potentially happen where we have this move to the upside, we break out, we get a back test, and then we run. Ideally, we'd like to see that happen. That's probably the most ideal situation when we're looking at an inverse head and shoulders. We break that resistance, we test it as support, and we run. Something that would look kind of like this. So we have this example here where we have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Now, the depth from the neckline to the head could also be used as a potential target on the breakout. So let's take a measure real quick and see what could potentially happen if we're looking at that, right? So we have a minus 37% move down, but just for the size of it, if we do get that breakout, it would bring us towards this 24.50 range if we do get that move to the upside. Now, just real quick, an example of an inverse head and shoulders playing out in the market is here on Crsr, where we have this weekly inverse head and shoulders like setting up, and then we get this breakout and we try to retest, but we hold above and we continue to the upside. Now, if we look real quick from the neckline to the bottom of the head and we drag that up here, we get pretty much just about that direct move there. So it happens to work out for Crsr. It doesn't necessarily mean that the same thing's going to happen here on Corsair, but it is interesting to see. So I'm going to highlight here some of the daily resistance zones we might potentially run into on the way up to that 24.50 range. So you could easily do that by just setting up your horizontal tool and marking out zones. There's our neckline. Here's the first resistance at $20. Support, we break below, and we can't seem to get it. That seems to be an area where we could potentially revisit. And if we look back on the chart, it was a resistance zone back in 2020 as well. So that $20 range seems to be an important area, and it might be the first area in the stock where we have some sort of resistance. Now, when we're looking at the next zone, if you look here, we have a bunch of touches at that $21, $22 range. So that could be another area. And lastly, when we're looking at this, I'm marking out this $25 range, which is right about where our target would have brought us from the height of our neckline to the bottom of the head. So we have an interesting potential move here when we're looking at Corsair. We want to see if in the next few weeks we see a follow through. It looks like after earnings we're starting to get a big rise in volume. We need that to maintain, but that's the breakdown on Corsair. Easy.